Welcome to our first artist focus, and today I am focusing on Cilla Conway's work. Cilla Conway has been doing tarot decks and oracle decks for a good number of years. I don't know, honestly. It could be 30, could be 25, I don't know, I think it's more like 30. I apologize if I'm not getting this completely right. Now, I do happen to love Cilla's take on the liminal space, and so I have a few of her decks, and I believe actually there's only one of her decks that I don't have, and that's the first one that came out. Now, in this collection I have her Byzantine Tarot, which she did the art for and John Matthews did the write-up for. Her Shimmering Veil Tarot. Now, the Byzantine Tarot is readily available, so it's really nice to just get into it. I mean, they're all readily available. She does have a page for these where you can actually order them directly from her. So Shimmering Veil Tarot is her baby. She did the write-up, and I adore the way that she approaches the tarot and how she advises you to read. The Shimmering Veil, that's the back of the cards. It has a hollow side, and I really like it. It's quite a it's very pictorial. I really enjoy her use of color and just the elements that she's putting in. So we'll have maybe a little look at what I mean, you know, especially in the cups, because it's very obvious in the cups. In her oracle decks, she has the Devas of Creation, and this was the first oracle deck I think that she produced, and those go back a little bit. You can still get them on her website. If you shop through her website, you can still get them. We'll have a look at them in a minute. And then she followed that with the Multidimensional Devas, which add a very nice dimension to the whole thing. And my personal favorite, this is how I came to be a Cilla fan. She made this deck, and this deck is pure magic for me. It's one of the decks that really gets me, and sometimes I wish I had it in the past. You know, when you need that deck, that's called the Book of the Dead, and that only that will do. So I think this was her latest one, and she released it last year. I got it around maybe December time. Anyway, it doesn't matter when I got it exactly. So on the tarot side, you have some very different feelings. The one that she did with John Matthews, she did with the Byzantine sort of mojo in it. So you have really a Byzantine feel to the whole tarot. She really took the subject matter to heart, and she really ran with it, you know. So although it could be held as a Rider-Waite clone, I love her use of color. I love what they've done with all the different cards, the different themes. You can see the back of the cards is gorgeous as well, and the courts are different because, you know, the Byzantine didn't have kings and queens, they had an emperor, and they had counts and countesses. So they have that. Look, one of my favorite cards in this, the Four of Staves. Just adore it. And they carry through that theme beautifully all the way through. Now, as tarots go, this is not a friendly tarot. It is a friendly tarot in that it lends itself to being read, and it's easy to read, but it really tells you like it is. It really does. There's a lot of it's quite a stern deck, really. Well, I see it as a stern deck. I've always felt it as a stern kind of deck. Look at the Magus, you know, the Magician. I do see the Five of Swords is just horrible. You know, I mean, it's beautifully painted, but it's horrible. It's quite stern, right? Even your figures, you know, are quite stern. Your swords are stern. Even your happy cards have a certain sternness to them. I think it's because there's like almost like a religious-ish kind of theme running through. But overall, I like it because she has managed to inject color into it, and the borders are beautiful. I mean, the cards are beautiful. You know, they feel like little jewels. But they just tell you like it is. So you don't have any... Sometimes it's really hard to get to something nice in a card. Although this one is not hard. It's really quite good. But you know, she looks a bit miserable. So the expressions are a little bit miserable. So I love the deck, but I know that when I reach for it, it's gonna be one of those hard readings kind of thing. I find that her Shimmering Veil tarot is almost softer to engage with, okay? I'm just gonna show you a few cards. I do have them in order, so you can see just the change, like that, the change between the 1, the 2, so these are 1s, and the 3. It's like, wow, okay, this is major. And the 4, which is one of my favorites. Let's see. So the fire is very fiery, as you would expect. And then you go into the water. And I love this deck because of the coherence of each of the suits. Okay, I really enjoy the coherence. And still the fact that she's managed to express what each of the cards is supposed to express. So there's a certain softness and really it's almost like she's in a trance when she's painting those, you know. I feel almost like you're reading into the ether. That's how it feels to me. It feels almost like reading into the ether, reading into the Akash. And although some of the cards are harsh, here we go again, Five of Swords, gets a bad press. I don't know, I still think they're highly readable and highly relatable. You know, there's many ways to read those. And Cilla, I really like the fact that in her book she says, okay, you read this, but if your interpretation is different, you have to go with your interpretation because that's the only true thing. And I get with that, totally. Let me show you a few of these. Maybe if there's interest, I'll think about doing a full sort of flip through of these. I think there's a couple of people that have done really nice flip through of these. So for me, it's more of a review of the artist. And there you go. She uses a full palette. She even comes into the pastels. I really adore the way that she's treated the majors. Well worth having a look at, because her style is just so unique, you know. just, I love it. And look at that. Do you remember death in the Byzantine Tarot? This is the one card that looks very similar. And that horrible devil card. My goodness, it's just so horrible. But you also have a gorgeous star card. So, the Awakening Judgment card. And she has, in fact, 22 majors, because she has the full sort of reborn at the end as well. So I really engage with her Shimmering Veil, and then I love working with the Multidimensional Devas with it. So this is just a box that comes like this, and the cards come out like that, and this has got a gold edge and that multidimensionality. So the Multidimensional Devas are again quite punchy. It's not about being nice, it's not about niceties. It really is about engaging with that multidimensional energy. So for each of the cards, I really like the deck. You know, again, she uses a full palette. She has that very distinctive style, and the cards are very immersive. I can only imagine what they must be like, you know, in like a much bigger format, what it would be like to have your favorite card in a much bigger format. I engage with the Multidimensional Devas more than I engage with the Devas of Creation. I just find that there is a slightly softer side to them, which doesn't go amiss, especially if you're reading with the deck, the Shimmering Tarot as well, Shimmering Veil. You know, you need to at some point get in some softness as well. So I'm not saying it's all sweetness and light, you know, but, and because it's an oracle deck, you will need the book just to figure out what you're doing, basically. The cards are only numbered, so you're not being given anything, you know, no keyword, no title. Although if you're in a multidimensional world and you see this, you might suspect that there's multidimensionality mentioned there. So I adore these. I do work with them periodically, so not all the time. I have my other decks to work with all the time, but periodically I'll do a sit down with those and do a proper reading. And what I like about the book is that it gives you 2 full pages to a card, and it's a color book. Okay, it's not super cheap, but it's worth the investment. I think the investment of the Multidimensional Devas is definitely worth it. You've also got space for your notes, and at the end I believe she gives you reading samples so that you can find your bearings and you can start, you know, exploring the deck for yourself. So this is really almost like an add-on, I guess, to the Devas of Creation, which were produced, I can't exactly remember when she produced them. These come in a box like this, so you have the deck in two separate piles. Now these are not fancy, they're very very slidey. I'm trying to put them up. They are much more toned down, very slidey cards, simple back, simple white edge, but there's a lot of cards in there. I can't remember how many there are, but this feels like more like 70 cards anyway. So again, we're looking at the forces of creation, basically. And she says, you know, working with the energies of the universe is the subtitle for this deck. And again, they're a good energy to bring in to a deck. Some are scary, some not so much. Some are really friendly. But I like that it's a sort of balanced oracle deck, you know, that it gives you yeah, that it gives you a balance of good and bad. You know, a lot of oracle decks really only focus on the good, and you might have a couple of difficult cards, whereas there's much more balance in Cilla Conway's cards decks. And again, you know, she just goes for this, and I just really love her approach. It's very alchemical, actually, that her approach. I really engage with it massively. And again, knowing that these were painted first as piece of artistry is it all helps for me anyway, because sometimes oracle decks can be a little bit detached or semi, but when I find things like that, you know, I can just engage more with it. The final deck in this artist review is the Book of the Dead, and frankly, wow, wow, wow. This is just, yeah. If you are wondering if you do past life work, if you want to engage in processes of knowing how your past lives are impacting you, or your soul contracts, or if you want to inquire about loved ones that are departed, you might want to look into this. And it's much softer in a way, although it's organized around different paths. So, you know, there's one of the paths which is not a nice path, but so be ready for that. You know, it's not going to be all unicorn sweetness and light. The deck is just amazing. It's like a hollow, it's got a hollow gold edge, and it has different states of being in the afterlife. It has different beings in the afterlife, like the psychopomp, different paths in the afterlife. You can see here you've got the life review, first garden. So I'm not going to go through all of them. This one is amazing. Recovery. So these ones have titles. This is where it's different from her other decks, is that you have titles to engage with. And so this is not a deck that I read with alongside a tarot, but particularly when I'm engaging in past lives or engaging in soul contract work, yeah, or just inquiring about loved ones. This is the one that I reach for. And you have angelic beings, bidams, which is lovely. So I'm not going to pass them all, but this is just to give you a little idea of the magnitude of Cilla's art. And I'm hoping that these are coming out good, because they are just so fabulous, and there's just so much to immerse yourself in here. So just one more and I'll quit. So this is a very, very special deck. Very, very special. And it only comes out on very special occasions. I love this artist, Cilla Conway. I love her her class. I love her depictions. Her art is just really organic. You know, you can almost taste those pictures. You can really get into them. It's almost like you're holding the oil, the original oil in your hand, oil canvas. So I would definitely recommend that you have a little peek if any of those float your boat. The Devas of Creation is actually quite affordable, I think. The other ones I think are printed a little bit more upmarket, so they go up a little bit in price. And then of course, if you want that super special deck that you're going to treat with the highest respect and that you're going to be doing really deep work with, the Book of the Dead is your pal. It's going to be your tool. Amazing lady. She's working on a new tarot just now, which I'm looking forward to. I just saw today that it's going to be released in the autumn, and it's all about the old gods, and it's going to be octagonal cards. So I'm kind of curious to see how that shuffles, and curious to see how she's treated the subject matter. She's not doing it on oils this time, which for me, okay, I'm waiting to see how I feel about it actually, because I really love her oils so much. We'll have to see how I engage with the non-oil tarot. But for now, I recommend her work wholeheartedly. She's amazing. What she produces is really high quality, and yeah, you just, if you're looking for a tool for introspection, you're looking for growth tools as well, then those are perfect, okay? And to really get into some really deep work. So if you're using these for your personal work, these are perfect, okay? And well worth it. So I hope you enjoyed this artist review, and I will maybe put a link to her website in the description below. I don't get anything for this. It's just because I love her work and I think it should be better known. Okay. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. It helps the channel tremendously. And let me know how you feel about all this art in the comments below.